Welcome to the Clause YouTube channel.
Together, we strive for a safer, secure, and more stable world.
Hello and welcome to Strategic Frontlines, the YouTube channel of Center for Land Warfare Studies. Today we have a very, very interesting topic to discuss. And to discuss this, we have four guests. The fourth one would be joining us very soon, Mr. Bahuria from the IDSA, a well-known Pakistan expert. We have another Pakistan expert, Dr. Tara Kartha, known for her incisive comments, short but brief. And we have General Bhaduria, who, like me, is a military man, and so we have views on everything. So we can comment on anything and everything which is happening in the international relations or warfare, or for that matter, even politics. But today we will not indulge in politics. Today is the day for discussing something which has a very serious ramifications for both West Asian region, India, and the two big ones, that is China and the US. So without any further delay, let me call upon Dr. Tara Kartha to highlight the main proposals of the KSA Pakistan Pact, and thereafter, what are her concerns as far as this new pact is concerned? See, they were already having a cooperation between each other, but that was not anything new. Only thing is they have formalized it, and there is one core issue which they have added, is that attack on one will be considered as attack on the other. This is something which is a cause of worry for a lot of people here, especially in India. So over to you, Dr. Tara Kartha, before I only keep speaking.
Thank you. I was, this whole the security deal, as everybody knows now, and you just said, it formalizes an existing arrangement in the conventional sphere, where Pakistanis have been posted to Saudi Arabia. They've been serving in their army. Half the equipment is operated by the Pakistanis. So that has been going on for some time. Number two is, I think now the whole world knows that Pakistan's nuclear program was funded by the Saudis a lot, and that the only foreigner to ever visit a Pakistani nuclear site was a Saudi prince at that point of time. They didn't even allow Prime Minister Benazir Bhutto to visit the facility, a nuclear facility, and they allowed him. So that is the extent of proximity. But that was a long time ago. And Saudi Arabia has since come into an entirely different direction. It is so strange compared to Pakistan. Saudi Arabia is a far more modernizing. It is on the path towards, getting a kind of market access, diverting away from just an oil economy. It's doing all that and is doing very well. Whereas Pakistan is going downhill. But nonetheless, despite this cooperation and of course the jokes that were made, it was not exactly a joke that he said, I think in Bob Woodward, I think in his book, he said Saudis can always rent a nuclear weapon from Pakistan. The point is formalizing this, putting it down in black and white makes a difference. Now, if you disaggregate this whole thing, what does it mean? Deterrence is not so easily achieved. It talks of deterrence. And when you say deterrence, the assumption is that it's a nuclear deterrence. And also the fact, the fact that are Pakistani missiles going to be stationed in Saudi Arabia? At one time, there were these reports that a lot of Pakistanis were moving to Saudi Arabia, in the guise of Hajj, and then disappearing there. So there was the North Korean angle, there was the Chinese angle, all this was going on, but again, many years ago. Now, I don't see why Saudi Arabia would want missiles on its soil, because then it becomes a target. Why would it want to do that? That is one. Number two is, would it have that amount of reliance on Pakistan to say that the nuclear umbrella will operate for its defense against unknown people? We don't know, because I think all of us know that the Saudi Arabia-Israel relationship is not so bad that they're going to fear an attack from Israel. That is not the case.
I think we've lost her because of some technical problems. So, welcome, Mr. Behoria. Till the time we get Dr. Tara back onto the stage. Dr. Tara, you're back. So you can continue from.
Yeah,
We missed you. We missed you after nuclear umbrella. So you could continue thereafter.
yeah. So at the moment, it's not clear who the nuclear umbrella is against and who is proposing this. I refuse to believe that this is just a Pakistan Saudi initiative. It cannot happen. This is a very, very serious thing to put down in black and white to say there is a mutual defense agreement. So there are other players involved, but I leave it to say Ashok, who's just joined us, and perhaps he can throw some light on this.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Tara. I think you've raised two, three good questions, and who best to answer than Ashok? The first question is, Dr. Ashok, who's really behind this pact is what Dr. Tara has thrown that particular question. I won't say red herring, but it is being debated in the expert community as well. That it is not these two countries merely; it could be the US, etc. That I leave it to you to answer. That is one. The second thing is, which is more important, is it was already happening. This issue of cooperation between Pakistan and Saudi Arabia has been an ongoing process. There was a time when there were 20,000 troops in in Saudi Arabia. Now there are 1,500 troops. This is the current state, and these troops are not in the operational role. They are more in the training, advisory, that kind of a role. And Rahil Sharif is their so-called Senapati of the Saudi Arabian army. So if they have an army, but they have the largest import also. So there are some angles which are also talking of China. So could you just throw light on whether it is US, whether it is China, and why this need for a formalized pact at this particular stage? Over to you.
Should I respond? No.
Yeah, you're okay.
Point is, General Singh, I think we are reading too much into the pact. There are all kinds of speculations. I was looking at the tweets by none other than my friend from Pakistan, who they are saying, and there are many friends, they are all saying that there could be an American signal to go ahead with the treaty.
Okay.
American nod, it could not have come about, but it is all in the realm of speculation. The fact remains, I think our Foreign Office has also duly hinted at it, that this relationship was very robust, especially the security part of it. And we need to understand that this has been there since early 1960s, and between 2014 and today, there were several attempts by Saudi Arabia to rope Pakistan in. In fact, in the Yemeni thing. But Pakistanis had very politely refused to participate in 2015. But even then, in 2018, when Bajwa went to Saudi Arabia, he came back and sent about 1,100 person, security personnel to Saudi Arabia, and there was a lot of hue and cry in Pakistan about it. That why did we have to send it? But then Pakistan also had a Shia population who would not like Pakistan to be drawn into the Shia-Sunni conflict in the Gulf. By the army ISPR, that they are there to take care of the internal security aspect of Saudi Arabia. Another interesting thing, before that, when Rahil Sharif was called in, the decision was taken by the army and the government for this Islamic army. At that point of time, also Saudi Arabia, without even asking Pakistan, enrolled Pakistan in that Islamic forum. So there are a lot of instances where you can find that Saudis have taken Pakistan for granted, Pakistanis have taken Saudis for granted. In fact, when Pakistan was visited by a sanction after 1999 tests, 98 tests, Saudi Arabia came out and gave them 50,000 barrels of oil on deferred payment basis per day. So in that sense, Saudis have always tried to back Pakistan when they have faced any financial crisis. And there are also speculations about Saudi Arabia steamrolling their nuclear venture. So this is something that is known. So that is why perhaps our foreign office was very succinct that we knew that this was going to happen. But we need to understand the background against which this came about. This came about against the backdrop of Kuwait attack, Qatar attack, the attack on so-called terrorists by Israel couple of days back. So even after that, I think the Saudis are also getting a little nervous about Israeli assertiveness in that region. In fact, Israel has many people in Israel. The NSA of Israel, somebody told me, has a photograph behind his back which talks about Greater Israel. And Greater Israel even has Medina inscribed in it. So Saudi Arabia has I would say, genuine fear of Israeli attack. But this nuclear dimension of it is very interesting. Like there are many who are saying that Saudi Arabia was sitting out a nuclear umbrella. But when Israelis are not going to hit them with nuclear missiles. When you talk about nuclear umbrella, talking about a defensive umbrella, not an aggressive nuclear posture. So it is a defensive nuclear umbrella that we are talking about, and Israelis are not going to have nuclear warhead on Saudi Arabia. So I think this talk about nuclear umbrella, we have to take it with a pinch of salt. But you have a nuclear power behind Saudi Arabia today. That is interesting. So Pakistanis, because of their nuclear might they may act as a deterrent against is a possible Israeli attack. So that's something that we should talk about. So in that sense, they are actually trying to find out whether Pakistan will have their back in case of an Israeli strike, and perhaps to deter. It's not as much contributing to Saudi aggressive posture as to add to Saudi defense, and especially when Americans are unable to contain Israelis. And in fact, it is like somebody was telling me from Pakistan that it is like a child who has gone astray. So the father is not trying to, not being able to control. So that is why they must have winked at this kind of Pakistan and Saudi Arabia to get into this kind of an agreement, which will perhaps deter the child. So it's like, when the parents are unable to control a child, they always bring a neighbor and say that, you please frown at him so that he will obey. So we can look at it from that perspective as well.
I think Jan Behuria has laid out some very interesting points. They are coming on the ticker as we are discussing, so that the audience can also know as to what each speaker has been highlighting in his talk. So this is a new facility which we have just started in our channel. So it is for the audience to know that we are getting a little more high tech and little more AI enabled. So before I come back to those questions, there are 2-3 issues. Dr. Behuria mentioned that maybe, first of all, he said it is a speculation. So maybe we should take that also. The second thing which he said was that errant child, Israel has become Netanyahu, I would say, not Israel, but Netanyahu has become an errant child and the US is somehow not able to get through to him to control his, reach in terms of military strikes on the various neighboring countries. So possibly he has prompted Pakistan and the KSA to sign this particular agreement as a counterweight to the Israeli attacks which are taking place. So that is a matter of major concern. Imagine Saudi Arabia is actually banking on the US security, right?
Absolutely.
Against Qatar, the US held back for reasons best known to US. So, what do you think, Jan Bhaduria? Do you think the second reason seems to be more likely? And what about Russia? How will be Russia reacting to this? Because you're a close Russia voucher. So I would ask you both. First of all, what is the possibility of the second option, which Dr. Bihoria said? And secondly, how do you think Russia is going to react to all this, which is happening in the West Asia region? Over to you, Jan Bhaduria.
So, thank you very much for this. Firstly, for giving me an opportunity to join here today. Now, before I answer what you have asked, let me just make one remark. Firstly, why a bit of concern in our country, particularly in the press, and also why people are celebrating in Pakistan, right? So what I feel is that Pakistan is feeling quite, in the press and all people are writing about it because Pakistan now feels they are not isolated, right?
Yeah.
They are not isolated because of this particular development, and also because few months back their field marshal was invited by Trump in White House. So now Pakistan feels that they are on the world stage, they are not isolated. That's why all these kind of reactions we are seeing in Pakistan. In India, obviously, because it is in the wake of Sindoor, so there are concerns in the media, more so in media. Now, as a military person, if I have to analyze it, what does it actually mean on ground, right? At best, in case Pakistan has to, firstly, what is the threat, right? We all start with who is the threat or what is the threat to Saudi Arabia? Israel, obviously, nobody else, right? So Israel are they going to attack ground forces, naval attack, or just air? So in case it is just air attacks, let's presume it, or let's have a scenario like that, then what can Pakistan do there, right? Pakistan has very limited air power. Their F-16s, I do not think Americans would permit them to be used there, right? Are they, capable of delivering any nuclear weapons? These F-16s, I don't think so, because a lot of work has to go on in case you have to load something on that, right? They have the other Chinese aircrafts, so that those can be used, right? Saudi Arabia can provide them money, but they will only be able to buy Chinese stuff. So what I feel, contrary to what was said earlier, maybe Chinese would get an opportunity to enter there, right? Through Pakistan. All their equipment, everything, Pakistan can only buy Chinese equipment. 80% they already have. I do not think Americans are going to supply any of these military equipment, particularly of AD and aircraft, to Pakistan. That is unthinkable, particularly against Israel. Whatever statements are coming from Trump are just statements. They are not actually even in the UN. They are opposing the Palestine resolution, whatever is coming there. They are not supporting it, right? So therefore, militarily, I am finding it a little difficult as to how one will come to the assistance of the other. As far as India is concerned, I do not think Saudi troops are going to come here. Their money can come, right? Also, let's not forget that we have a very, very good relationship with Saudi Arabia, right? It's built over. Prime Minister Modi was there just when the Operation Sindoor just took place, or when the Pahalgam attack took place, and he was felicitated there by their state honor, right? Okay. Now the other countries, China, as I've talked about, China probably will get a breakthrough, or they will be able to enter this field in case they want to, right? Because also, sorry.
I think somebody interfered. Go ahead.
Okay, right. So that is one. Iranian foreign minister was there when all this development was taking place, And before that, Iranian president had visited Saudi Arabia. So is Iran too keen on this thing happening so that they have some safety network against Israel? So that is one aspect. Now you asked about Russia, right? Russia is too engaged in Europe. They do not have the bandwidth. They do not have the capacity at the moment. 3 years down the line, having fought in Ukraine, they do not have the military wherewithal and things like that to do anything over here, right? They might have interest, like there are Russian, almost 2 million people in Israel. So that is there. Saudi Arabia also, they've had not too bad a relationship. But look at what Russians are now doing in other part, Poland and other place, right? So I do not think Russians would like to be in any way get sucked into the Middle East, developments which are taking place. They do not do so when Iran was attacked. So that is my, comment on what you asked about Russia.
Okay, so I think you have also raised some very interesting issues, including Iran, because that's also a player. In fact, it has been my view that there are 4 countries which are trying to take the leadership of the Islamic world. Turkey is one of them. Turkey also would be looking at this with a very, very microscopic, lens. Then we have the Saudi Arabians, of course. They think that they have the right because of Makkah, Medina, etc. being there. They, as the world leaders as far as Islam is concerned. Then, of course, you have our friend on the western border, Pakistan, which always feels that having the nuclear capabilities, they have a greater say in the overall Islamic state. Sometimes people do talk about Indonesia as well, but I don't think Indonesia has, as of now, any heft to really influence people in the West Asia, countries in the West Asian or the Middle East region. So we have had one round of initial comments by all 3 of you. Now I would like again to start off with Dr. Tara and thereafter Dr. Behoria and General Bhaduria to comment on uh, India angle. How is India going to get affected by this pact? And the second thing, any issue which the other speakers have raised, their views on that. So over to you, Dr. Tara.
Actually, in one thing I have to slightly disagree with Dr. Behuria, which is very unusual because I usually agree with him, is that
Okay.
look, the Israelis are not going to see this as, not a serious thing, as being defensive, as being something which is not to be taken seriously. Israelis will take it very seriously. One. Number two is that there is a narrative being spread by the Pakistanis that it was Pakistan's capability against India which convinced the Saudis and the rest of the countries that they are capable of providing a defense to the Islamic world. I mean, whatever Islamic world you want to choose out of that. That is number two. And that is a narrative which they are spreading like mad. Number three is, I think, if this, I mean, deterrence, like I said, to me and to everybody else seems is nuclear deterrence, right? But to me, all Pakistan's weapons, nuclear weapons, are Chinese. So is China going to allow that to happen? If it has happened in this case, I would then assume that China has told Pakistan to go ahead. If it is indeed nuclear deterrence, otherwise it cannot happen. And China in recent days has been playing the kind of, everybody should get along, kind of, arbitrated, getting everybody to sort of live peacefully with each other. All that stuff it's been doing between Afghanistan, Pakistan, India. So that is one. However, your question on India, to come to that's the fourth point.
Mm-hmm.
Our problem will be more in the conventional area. I don't see in any scenario where Pakistan's nuclear weapons or Saudi Arabia will think it's necessary to target us. But if other countries also come in and say, okay, let's expand Pakistan's conventional capability, which Saudi Arabia may or may not be okay with, That is what we need to watch out for.
Okay, so I think you have basically referred to the fact that Israel angle, and I tend to agree with you on that count because I was there in two seminars very recently, and I was a fellow co-panelist with the DCM of Israel, and what he said, and it is a very telling statement for all of you to note. He said, if somebody says that I am going to do XYZ on Israel, I will believe it and take action accordingly. I'm not going to wait for you to take that action. So if Iran says that I'm going to destroy Israel, there are posters in Iran to this effect, then he says, I believe it. And I will, in my military language, I will say, I will toko Israel. I'll toko Iran. So that is the kind of mindset which the Israelis have. So we need to be, I think, a little more deeper analysis has to be done as far as the Israeli angle is concerned. So we'll move on to Dr. Bihoria, and I would like you to touch upon the IMEC aspect. Is that going to get affected by this pact or not? Because this was talked about in the West Asian Forum where I gave a talk, and I spoke a lot on IMEC in that particular forum. So include this also in your response when we are talking of India. Over to you, Dr. Bihoria. You are mute. You are mute. Dr. Bihoria, you are mute.
Sorry. No, I don't disagree with Dr. Taras. Israelis will take it seriously. They have taken it seriously. And especially after the defense minister of Pakistan came out saying that, our nuclear arsenal is available to Saudi Arabia in case they need them. So in that sense, this is a call for Israel to respond to. In fact, as I structured my argument, I said that this is basically a deterrent move. It is a defense pact. It is not only a defense pact; it is a defensive pact. So they are actually defending themselves against possible Israeli attack. So in that sense, we should look at it from that perspective. And in fact, the comments from Pakistan are varied and mixed. In fact, you have people like Afshander Me sitting in Stimson writing that it is a watershed moment for Pakistan, that they could strike such a bargain with Saudi Arabia. They don't have a similar agreement even with China. They are long time friends. So this is one kind of argument. And Hussein Haqqani came out and said that this will make Saudi funds available to Pakistan to buy sophisticated weaponry. This is interesting. So Pakistan will now acquire sophisticated weaponry from around the world through Saudi money in the pretext of saving Saudi Arabia or defending Saudi Arabia. So this is another kind of argument. But that is also another argument that it is an elite pact. Today in Dawn, there is a lady called Arifa Noor. She has destroyed all arguments. She said that what is this? What does this pact mean for Pakistan and Pakistanis? This doesn't mean anything. It is based on what she calls elite survivalism. This is an interesting way of looking at it. This doesn't alter the political dynamic within Pakistan, social dynamic within Pakistan, the power dynamic within Pakistan. So this is only trying to strengthen the elite in Pakistan, nothing else. So there is a smaller constituency there who are also celebrating the Indian uneasiness, Indian analysis about this fact. They are celebrating it. They are saying that the people in India are getting worried, so there must be something good about the pact, and we should hail the pact as something interesting. So there are varied reactions to the pact even within Pakistan. So my point was that looking at the way the global chessboard, power chessboard is loaded this time, I don't think China will have much stakes in all this. They are smart players. They do not want to enter into any conflict zone around the world in favor of or against anybody. So they will make some statement from which you will surmise that they are differing with US on this, they're differing with Pakistan on this, but they will not make any conclusive statement ever. Even on Ukraine, you see, they have not taken a very, very clear stand. So Chinese are very, very interesting players as far as these kind of situations are concerned. They have a mercantilist foreign policy more than anything else. So they are not going to do it. Russians are also, they are checkmated by the Ukrainian engagement and European engagement. So what it has for us, I think what Haqqani said interests me. Haqqani is saying that now Saudi money will be available for defense acquisition by Pakistan. That we should keep in mind. And second thing, will Pakistan now feel obliged to join Saudi endeavors or military engagements in the Gulf? Because that is a red herring in Pakistan. That will also create problems for the elite in Pakistan to justify their action. Because there is a very strong lobby in the civil society and also within the army, which is against Pakistan taking sides in a Shia-Sunni conflict in the Gulf. Yemen is almost a Shia-Sunni conflict. So will Pakistan be dragged into that? That will limit Pakistan's capability there. So we have to look at those aspects as well. What impact it will have on us? I would say it will be of a very remote impact on the way we will structure our responses to Pakistani terrorist threats. Because our relationship with Saudi Arabia has been very cordial. The Saudis have also come out and said that this is not going to alter the dynamic of India-Saudi relations. Very clear about it. Because they also have a commercial engagement with us, which they do not want to destroy. So in that sense, in case of a possible India-Pakistan engagement, military engagement in future, which will emanate, which will be of two different scenarios. One is from dastardly terrorist attack, and the other one is an all-out war, which Pakistan will declare. Because we are not going to start the war, as I understand it, as our position is. So in case of a attack from Pakistani side, the Saudis are not going to join them. Because the nature of the pact is defensive. If Pakistan is attacked, then they may join. The Saudis can always excuse themselves. And on the counter-terrorism attack that India may conduct, Saudi will also have a distinct approach. So it depends largely on the way we structure our relationship with Saudi Arabia. We should not look at it as Saudis against us. So because we are getting into a very different kind of a world altogether. Second, the IMEC thing. The IMEC thing is already a dead because of the situation in that theater. It's already a dead. I think it is not going to be affected much because Americans are not so much interested anymore. It has to go through Israel. Israel is in terrible state, and Saudis, with the kind of threat that they are now perceiving, they are also not interested in pursuing it now. So it will remain at the realm of unimagination at the moment. It may maybe later when situation improves, because nothing is entirely dismissible at the moment. You can bring it back in only after the situation improves. But as I look at it, in a short-term future, it's not going to improve in the region. So IMEC is a dead. And now we have to look at our relationship with Iran in light of all this. Americans have already scrapped the kind of concession they had given us on Chawar. And Chawar has been attacked by also some Taliban-like elements, which Iranians are also now holding Afghanistan responsible for that. So there are a lot of issues that we have to contend with in that region in our effort to reach out to Western Asia and Central Asia. So I think we'll have to also hit the pause button as situation is emerging in that theater. Thank you. Oh, General Singh is perhaps having some problem.
I think his connection is little weak. Uh, right. So I'll just go ahead with that. Uh,
Yeah,
or should we wait for him to join?
No,
I
I
think you
think
should go ahead. So that,
you should go ahead. Yeah.
Right.
go ahead.
So my first remark would be that I agree with both of you that as far as India-Saudi Arabia relations are concerned, they are too strong, right? Because as far as Saudi Arabia is concerned, their Vision 2030, India is a very, very important player in that, and I do
I
not think
agree.
he will let go of this because they are looking at life after oil, and in which
Yes.
all this matters, right? So they cannot just let go of India. IMEC, yes, I agree with you. It might be delayed. The contours are yet to fructify, but later in future, it's something for future because with EU, in case we have a FTA, then we would require all these kind of connectivity, which would happen in future. So that's second, right? The my other point which I wish to make is should India be worried or should Pakistan be worried more than us? Right? I would like to believe, being an Indian Army officer, that Pakistan should be worried even more because now this gives Israel a chance to do something against Pakistan. And Israelis, we know, they don't take any chances with their security, right? So you never know what they can end up doing because let's not forget there were reports about a decade and a half back that Israelis were planning to do something against Pakistan via India, through India, like that, right? So those are kind of scenarios you never know when do they actually get a life of their own. So that is one. The second is something which Pakistan should be very, very worried about is the Bagram base which US is now going to occupy. And Trump has said, come what may, he's moving in there, right? And I think Taliban would agree to that. Now, that is something which should be worrying Pakistan, Iran, more than what this pact should be worrying us, right? And all those who were thinking that US is withdrawing from Middle East, I think we'll have to give it a second thought because rather than withdrawing, Trump is moving in South Asia, Afghanistan, right? He has had some kind of a dialogue with the field marshal, right? So the things are becoming very interesting and at the same time very complex and uncertain, right? At this time, it will be little premature to come to any kind of conclusion as to which side is got a upper hand, which side is not got a upper hand. Now, India, in any case, does not have the kind of security engagements that we have in Indo-Pacific. We carry out no exercises this side, right? We have no threats from West as far as this is concerned, right? Except from Pakistan. So I would say that we will have to wait and see how the situation in Middle East develops, because that is where our energy security will get impacted. So that is something which should be worrying us. Our diaspora there, those are the kind of issues that should be worrying us rather than this agreement, which in any case is not binding in case something happens, right? Either side can get out of it. So I think the DG is this thing has gone
Let's
bad.
give it a call.
So what we can do is, ma'am, you could give your comments and then Dr. Bahuria, and then in the meantime, we'll see whether he joins. Otherwise, then we'll start taking questions after that.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Would you
Okay.
like to say something?
Sorry. I just want to say very quickly that the test of this is yet to be seen. I mean, we have to see how things sort of pan out, you know. Sorry, just one second.
Mute, please.
In
Okay, you are muted now. Yeah, yeah. Now you're okay.
Okay. Is because will the US in fact provide weapons after meeting the great field marshal and whatnot? Nothing has been received as of now except I think 390 million for that F-16 technical package. That's all they've got. So if deal, the US comes in some way to give them aid, then we can deduce that this is a US backed pact. Because as my colleague Aishwarya has pointed out, when this deal is being signed, there was a US Saudi exercise going on at that point of time. So it's pretty much up in the air. But I think what I would look for is that this sense of Pakistan's conventional capability, which they have successfully sort of shown all over the world as if they are the ultimate in terms of the armed forces, whether they buy that and other countries also join into this. That will be the test of how this goes. If otherwise, this will, like Ashok said, this will die a natural death. Slowly it will have no meaning, and that's that. Your comments. General is back with us.
Yeah, actually, I missed out the in between comments. So I don't know whether General Bhaduria has given out
No,
his.
Yeah. Yes,
I
He
only
has.
cited the Americans moving in Taliban in Afghanistan, Bagram, and what I was saying was that it should be Pakistanis who should now be worried more than us, because in case US is there in Bagram, then it changes a lot of things,
Yeah,
and
that's
for Pakistan, for
yeah, that's
right,
a very good angle. That's a very good angle, because
and
if Pakistan US moves into Bagram and Israel remains in the way it has been acting in the last few months or year and a half, then I think there is a problem which is there for people to contend with. So my last question is, I have not been privy to what was the overall Indian impact. The sense which I get is that possibly India should not be that much worried about this development. It's only that the nuclear angle is something which we need to take into consideration. Uh, how will Israel react to this pact? That was the last question, and then we can take comments from the questions from the chat box. How is Israel going to quick two to three liners from each one of you? I think then we complete this particular debate in a holistic manner, and you can add the US China final comments on this. So, Dr. Tara, you can start, and then Dr. Behoria. And sorry, I could not join because my entire system went off.
No, I honestly, I would like to pass on that question because I don't, I mean, I know Israel is not going to sit quiet and say, oh, that's okay. This doesn't mean anything. That is definitely not going to happen. What are they going to do next? I think they will approach, they have, the weird part of all this is Pakistanis have been dying to get into good relations with Israel for a long time, which Ashok will probably already bear me out. There has been Israeli some interactions, the civil sort of quiet things going on against Iran through Pakistan. They've had operations. So this relationship has been there. This shouting match in public is quite different from what has been going on in private. So no matter what the Pakistanis explain quietly to the Israelis are going to take note and they will take action corresponding, just as General Dushyant Singh said.
Uh, Dr. Behoria, quick comment by
No,
you.
no, I think Israelis will take it seriously in the sense that it remains to be seen whether they will be deterred. Looking at Israeli behavior, they will always try to test it. They may do something to test the strength of this kind of a pact, because they are not going to be completely deterred by this kind of an agreement. That is my hunch. But looking at Pakistani behavior, I noticed clearly that there were moments in the past, especially during Musharraf period, when they tried to build bridges with Israel. And after that also, when Pakistan is now warming up to US at the moment, and during the last meeting with Trump also, when Asim Munir was there were speculations that US was trying to find some relationship between, some way of strengthening relationship between Israel and Pakistan. But all the same, Pakistanis have realized that the kind of relationship Israel has with India today is going to be against their interests, because now they have taken Israel as decidedly as an enemy, as a hostile power. So that is why I think they are also expecting Israel to strike, especially after we struck Musaf, we struck what is almost Kirana, parts of Kirana. They are also in a bind. They also think that Israelis may also go berserk and strike our nuclear installations or bases on their own. So in that sense, they also have this kind of a fear. But lot will depend on in this entire discussion that we are having. A lot will depend on how US is looking at its relationship with Pakistan and Saudi Arabia after this pact. Today I saw in the Pakistani media very interesting news item, a small item, that even now Americans are trying to strengthen the railway communication system within Pakistan. So they are not only getting into the rare earth minerals and crypto, they're also trying to strengthen their communication network within Pakistan. So how this relationship is going to pan out will have a lot of implications for the way the Saudi-Pakistan Pact will be executed in future. So an American base in Bagram, I can only say it's not going to come about. I'm totally pessimistic about it, because this is a trial balloon which Trump has flown, but Taliban has been quick to respond to that. Let us fight another 20 years war. Trump has no stomach for war. He will not engage this kind of a Taliban. I think the only people who have told Trump off are the Talibans. No one in the world today has stood up to the Trump's blackmails, excepting the Taliban. Taliban only came out day before yesterday and said that it's not going to happen. It's impossible. It's impossible, they say. And we are ready to fight a 20 years war. So, but we'll have to look at that also. How Trump has a massive ego. So how he is going to respond to Taliban's rebuff remains to be seen. So keeping all this in mind, and now Pakistan Taliban equation is not good. So will Trump be able to persuade Pakistan to launch an attack on Taliban and Afghanistan? All these are in the realm of speculation, but these are interesting questions that remain to be answered. And if Americans are strengthening their presence in and around Pakistan, particularly keeping in mind, the need for Americans to tame the Taliban once more, so then the situation will change. Entire situation will change. So American presence in Pakistan may moderate Pakistan's behavior towards India, I would suspect. But at the same time, it will strengthen their ability to take on India later.
Okay, so I think, sir, quick comment by General Bhadoria, and then we'll take on the questions.
Right.
There are some
Thank
interesting
you.
have come.
So I just want to say that during Musharraf's time, you're right, there were talks of Israel and Pakistan coming closer. Even sometime during Imran Khan's time also, there were talks that probably they might be coming closer to that. But now situation has changed. What we have to see is the kind of leadership that is there in Pakistan. And I do not mean Sharif. I mean the Field Marshal. Field Marshal is a radicalized fellow. He reads whatever 5 times a day. He can read Quran backwards. He quoted during that speech that two-nation theory. He reiterated that. He said Israel, Pakistan is born for particular this thing. It was created for some this thing. I can't recollect his exact words. So this man is very, very different, right? So, and this would be taken note of by Israel. What DG said, that Israel will take every kind of a threat, even if it is uttered in jest or as a joke, they will not leave it. And let's not forget, I will again repeat, 20 years back, there were talks of Israelis taking on Pakistan, taking out Pakistan's nuclear assets, right? 20 years back. So Israelis, in their scheme of things, understand, and Bhutto had called this as Islamic bomb. No other country, nation has said it's religious, right? So these things cannot be wished away. They need to be taken note of seriously, particularly when the people who are ruling are radicalized to the extent that they are, right? So I personally feel Israel will take it very seriously. America will take it very seriously. They're not just going to this thing. And we are forgetting about China. China is a huge factor in Pakistan, Afghanistan, everywhere, right? So it is not that China is not a actor or not pulling the strings from behind or wherever, right? So that also we'll have to analyze. Not too many statements have come from China. We'll have to keep watching as to what kind of statements they give, and then only we'll see the picture that is emerging. Right now, it is too what should I say, fluid.
Okay, so I think we've had a very well-rounded discussion. Before we go in for the questions, these are the takeaways for our audience. Please go through the scroll when you are going to see this video again, or those who are going to see it later. These are the broad summary of what all has come up today, and I'm not going to repeat it because of the time constraint. It is there on the screen for all of you to look at it. Now, I'll request Akashika just take on 2-3 questions, quick ones, interesting ones, and then we'll close this particular debate. Akashika, can you do that? Yeah. So Akashika has opened up with the first one. There is a deep-rooted relationship between Saudi Arabia and Pak, which is over and above the American involvement in the present case and sequence of events. Your views, uh, takers.
I can
Yeah, go ahead.
I think that is quite true because there, on many occasions, the Pakistanis have literally saved the skin of the Saudi monarchy. When they've stepped in and done this. But the thing is, with the present MBS, the prince, whom everybody calls MBS, he's like as the ADG said, he's on a radically opposite path to where Pakistan is going. That doesn't mean he will not help, but if you remember recently, when they had the loans, they had rolled over loans again. They wanted, they're tired of propping up Pakistan,
Yeah.
and they had increased the interest rates also. So there is a certain, I think the Saudi prince is a very very smart person. He will go where it benefits his country. At the moment, he seems to be seeing the benefit in this. Therefore, he will not dump Pakistan at any rate, under any circumstances. But in this case, I think the fact that they chose to speak to us separately prior to the defense deal, it just shows that this is not the relationship has shifted. It's not the same as it was before. Sir, you're muted.
You're muted.
Next question, Akashika. And this we will go turn by turn. We will ask Dr. Bihoria to how do we know the pact is defensive, not aggressive, given Pakistan not following no first use policy. The use is unlikely, but still I think he's left it halfway down. Essentially, he's saying that how trust deficit. How do you
No,
create
no,
that
no.
trust?
Basically, he's asking how do you say it is a defensive pact? In fact,
Yeah, that's
this kind of pacts are always defensive because the fine print nobody has seen today. People in Pakistan are also saying that this is bad, that the fine print should have been there. All that we know is what we get to hear from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Pakistan, and there is one line that attack against one will be considered attack against another, like the Article 5 of the NATO
yes.
charter. So if you look at that script, it's not aggressive; it is defensive. Like attack against one will be construed as attack against another. So if somebody attacks Saudi Arabia or attacks Pakistan, then Saudis will consider it, attack against Saudi Arabia. If it is attack against Pakistan,
Yeah.
and similarly
Can I
vice
just
versa. So
sorry? Can I just come in here? Sorry. Please go ahead. Yeah.
no, I'm just finishing. So it's not that this is an alliance or a pact for Saudi Arabia and Pakistan to come together to take on someone else, unless they are attacked.
Okay.
So that is the defensive.
Okay.
That is the defensive nature
Yeah.
of the.
Yeah. Since the
There is
parties involved are only
out-
two, since the parties involved
Huh.
are only two, they can help each other only. There is no third party involved in it. Dr. Tara
No,
and Jan Baduria both wanted to speak and add something. Dr. Tara, you go first, and then Jan Baduria.
No, I was just wondering if there is a Pakistani terrorist attack on us and we retaliate, is that
Mhm.
aggression?
Yeah, I
That's
didn't
how.
ask you that question. I didn't
no,
ask
that's
you
what I'm
that
saying.
question.
That's what I'm saying. That is, and I had discussed this. I said that
Hmm.
if in case of a terrorist attack if dastardly terrorist attack on India, if India chooses to retaliate, then India can couch it as a counter-terror attack. It's not an attack against Pakistan. And Saudis are free to interpret in their own way. And given the texture of India-Saudi Arabia relationship, the Saudis are not going to interpret it against us. So we'll have to do some diplomacy there. So we'll have
Yeah.
to
So,
keep engaging Saudi Arabia in a manner that they don't interpret it as attack on Pakistan. And we have always said that it's not an attack against Pakistan.
so
So
definitely
the defense,
it is going to pose. So definitely it is going to pose as a diplomatic challenge. I mean, this pact is
yes,
posing
it
some
is a
kind of a
diplomatic
diplomatic.
challenge for us.
Yeah, Jan Bhaduria, you also wanted to add something to
Yeah,
it.
I just want to very two short points. First one is even the GCC countries have this kind of a saying that attack on one is attack on the others, and everyone will come together. Have they ever come together? That is one. The second point is that if you see the defense budget of the Middle East, all these Arab and Arab countries, it is almost to the tune of 125 to 130, $40 billion, and Pakistan brings in just $9 billion to the table, and their most of their military capability is directed against India. They are facing huge IS problem. They are facing Op Sindoor is on, so they cannot, on the LOC and on the IB, they cannot lower their guards. So what capability will they have left for coming to the aid of Saudi Arabia? I'm sure everyone would be factoring that and making their plans.
Can I just come
Yeah.
in here? I'll say that another interesting, I think what General Vaduria said is correct. Like, GCC people have not come together. But that doesn't mean that they will not. Because there is also a talk in the air of a Muslim NATO taking shape. We do not know how it is going to unfold, whether Qatar will join or Kuwait will join. I do not know. If we are speculating that Americans are behind it, will Americans also nudge these people that you also join? One doesn't know. So there is an evidence that GCC countries have differing interests, but given the kind of threat that Israel is posing at the moment, so you cannot completely rule out the possibility of few others joining this kind of a pact. So which will lead to some kind of a Muslim NATO that people are talking about. Of course, these are not going to be successful like NATO, but maybe they are trying to find out a way of protecting themselves against possible Israeli attack in future. I would put it this way.
Okay. Akashika, the last question, because 1 hour is going to end. So take the last question. Alia M, a regular listener to our channel. Thank you, Alia. How does this impact China? Some call it nuclear, secure, CPEC, and China selling weapons to Saudi Arabia. Others say Pak-China tensions. Jan Bhaduria, you go ahead first, and then we'll have the other two adding to it.
Right. China selling weapons to Saudi Arabia. Well, just about few months back, there was a deal signed between Saudi Arabia and Trump for $145 billion worth of aircraft and every other kind of military equipment. Right. So how can Saudi Arabia be buying, and they have in their inventory weapons from US, weapons from UK, from France, not from China. Right. And as military people, we know that it's so difficult to integrate the weapons coming from two different countries, or two different people on the different sides. US and China, they have a competition, right? Their weapon systems are against each other, right? So Saudi Arabia just cannot be buying both, right? And what about Pakistan-China tensions? Now, China has invested hugely in Pakistan. They will not let go of Pakistan. And they have been calling CPEC as their flagship project of BRI. In case CPEC goes, the BRI project appears to be, going down the drain. So how can they accept it, right? So these are the issues that we need to keep analyzing and not come to a conclusion that China is, not a factor there.
Okay, I think CPAC point was kind of misunderstood. What she meant is that it's a nuclear CPAC, in the sense Pakistan, China, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia is doing a CPAC of Pakistan type. It's just the other way around, that Saudi, telling indirectly that Saudi Arabia is cooperating with
A very
Pakistan
small point I wish to make it.
to create a CPAC. That's all.
Yeah. You see, the nuclear weapons, nobody can give it to others. There are international treaties, NPT, right? Those that we are finding it very difficult to get in that nuclear club, right? In case Pakistan does something, there will be heavy sanctions. And a country like Pakistan, which is actually living on loans, just cannot afford to be sanctioned. So they'll be very, very careful.
Yeah, Dr. Behoria, you wanted to add something.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to tell you this Chinese weaponry. Chinese have tried to push sell their weaponry to Saudi Arabia, but it has not. They have not succeeded. They acquired this Sky Shield integrated laser air defense system some years back, but they have serious performance issues. Given the dust and the heat of the place, they did not work. Then they deal. Chinese offered them J-35A stealth fighter jets, but the Saudis said that we have issues with that. We are not quite comfortable with the stealth capacity of this kind of jets that you are offering. So they cancelled it. So the Saudi-China military relationship is something that doesn't interest me at all, because they are not going to take safe, because Saudis are militarily dependent on US and to a certain extent on Pakistan. They have acquired a lot of Pakistani weaponry, small arms, but basically they will have an integration issue also if they acquire Chinese weapons as well. So the Chinese hardware will have integration issues as well. So there are a lot of issues about that. So all in all, I would say that in this kind of a situation that we are going to see in the Gulf area, the Chinese are not going to step in so soon. They are very, very cautious players. They will wait and watch. As they say, hide your strength and bide your time. And I don't see any reason to hope that they will join. And CPEC style agreement that has come about, I don't think it is a CPEC style one. It is a different. The character of this kind of a pact is entirely different.
You're muted.
What I said was regarding the integration part, Pakistan and China integrating with Saudi Arabia is a possibility. That is why possibly somebody talked about it as a CPEC. It will be a two-way CPEC. Some benefits to China, some benefits to Saudi Arabia. That kind of a thing is feasible. As of now, you must know that the Pakistanis have been operating directly with Saudi Arabia. In fact, after Op Sindoor, they have intensified their joint training just to get hold of the Western systems. It could be an exchange, that's possible. Last word from Dr. Tara, and then we are done with it.
No, I don't really have much to add. I think we've covered. I like the term nuclear CPEC though. It's a nice one.
Yes.
But it's a good idea. But I think we can close this now. I've got nothing.
Okay, I think we had a very interesting discussion. Some high pitched, some low pitched. Some people batted for existing things to continue. Some people said that there is likelihood of a difference in the way this region is going to behave. I know we could not discuss I2U2. We could not discuss Abraham's Accord. There are a number of issues in this particular region which had started off this whole area in a different trajectory. That trajectory seems to be getting off of the ramp. I don't know what is going to happen to those things. Maybe another day we will have that discussion. Thank you to all of you, and a very good, a very big Jai Hind to each one of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. Thank you for having us.